Death means the soul separates from the body and from the earth. You should view this as a liberation from all the burdens and responsibilities which were imposed on you so far. All this is over now. You are being relieved. You really have done enough. You may now put your hands in the lap and take a rest. At the threshold of the passage into the subtle world, there occurs a separation of the mental body from the physical. The development of theory receptivity assists the flight into the higher spheres. The separation of the mental body can be clearly realized by the spirit which senses the breaking away from the earth and aspires into the higher spheres. Thus takes place a unification of the two worlds, which liberates the spirit from the physical body. Repellent are those who consider themselves irreplaceable and try to rule even from the deathbed a life that has long ceased to be theirs. You must not allow yourself to be held back down here by continuing to be bound to relatives and friends or to unfinished tasks. You are confronted with new challenges. Those who are left behind must, as of now, get along without your help. The liberated spirit always aspires to the higher spheres, but the spirit attached to earth remains for a long time enchained in the lower strata of the astral world. The bond between the physical body and the astral is not easily broken by an earthly consciousness. The occurrence of a rupture between the bodies recoils painfully on those spirits which manifest earthly attractions. During the ascent of the spirit, of course, the liberation is realized at the point of breaking away from the earth. The cosmic law of attraction corresponds to this attachment, which is intensified by the energy of the consciousness. You are going to heaven. You must not get caught in the lower layers around the earth. The spirit which dwells within the confines of selfhood has no other path but grief. Breaking away then is frightful, and the spirit is for a long time attached to the earthly sphere. On your way up, you must cross as quickly as possible the terrible astral world, as in the opposite case at birth, when you came from above and were striving downwards through these ugly spheres. Let us imagine a sphere filled with the gases of base desires. Such spheres do engulf spirits which have not as yet been liberated from earthly burdens. The spirit impelled to the fiery world manifests its own attraction by straining all fiery energies. On the path to the fiery world, saturation of the consciousness by the higher world produces its spiral, which draws the spirit away into the higher spheres. Do not be captured by the many hands that try to thwart your ascent and to drag you down. It is deplorable to enter the subtle world in a confused and distracted state. When the consciousness is clear,
It leads upwards, just as gas lifts a balloon. No one and nothing can detain in the lower strata a steadfast consciousness which strives toward good.
You should not increase the army of abominable lower beings who are stuck in the lower strata near the earth. They are desperately making the inappropriate attempt to continue to participate in material life. They still pursue their unfulfilled desires and harass or torture the incarnated people. Such interworldly creatures continue to wander about the earth as disembodied spirits. Not only do they loiter around cemeteries, they also return to their former homes or workstations or other favorite places. Sensitive people can feel their presence or even see them.
The astral body, the husk, also moves and may be visible. Highly developed people can sense such corpses, forgotten on earth.
When you are crossing over, you have to make a firm resolution. I want to detach myself immediately from the earth and fly to the highest possible spheres of the spiritual world.
Upon entering the subtle world, one should firmly bear in mind the resolution to go toward light and to hasten to self-perfection. Many people pass on into the subtle world in a wrong state of mind. Some cross over in fear and terror, others in hatred and resentment. Some cling to their earthly attachments, and others believe that when the bodily sheath dies, there is nothing else. Everyone must cross the threshold free, aspiring to perfectment. Everything should proceed naturally, without preconceptions.
May your aspiration to the heights be strong and unerring.
At the threshold into the subtle world, striving plays the decisive role. Striving into the higher spheres gives the spirit the strength to break away from the earth.
Do not look back down to the earth, but only upwards to your high goal.
The misery and grief of those who are carried away from earth binds them thereto. The best instance of this is found in the biblical legend about Lot. For in new life they walked out of the city, and only one condition was imposed upon them, not to look back. But the wife of Lot looked back and bound herself to earth. Religion says, "He who goes to his fathers will dwell with them. He who goes to the angels will dwell with them. And he who goes to God will dwell with him." It means that he who has ordained for himself the utmost progress arrives at the best attainment. Therefore, the best bidding to the one who departs from earth will be, hurry, without looking back.
It is impossible to develop such a strong aspiration to the highest spheres at the very last moment during the transition itself. Your striving will only be powerful and purposeful if it has been the leading idea of your whole life during your earthly incarnation.
Upon leaving the earthly sphere, the spirit is strained in the consciousness by those achievements which were dominant in that life. The life of a man has, as it were, its leitmotifs, and upon these songs, or laments, the spirit is strained. The achievements of the spirit lead upward, and departure from the earthly sphere is always a joy for the spirit which has realized the luminous achievement of service. Even during physical pains, the spirit surmounts all earthly infirmities. In the breaking away from earth, the bond with the higher worlds, to which the spirit aspires, is strengthened. The ladder of ascent is built upon the devotion to hierarchy.
Now it transpires how much higher knowledge, what true achievements you have assembled. In particular, the more psychic energy you have accumulated, the faster and the higher you can climb up.
Each one enters that sphere which corresponds to his psychic state. It is a natural desire to want to know how the transitions into different spheres are accomplished. It is not difficult to understand that purified Agni is the decisive factor. If we gradually fill a balloon with combustible gas, it will begin to rise proportionately. If the balloon cannot retain the gas, it will descend. This is a crude example of the principle governing transition into the various spheres of the subtle world. The subtle entity can ascend by itself if its fiery seed is appropriately filled. Fire, the transmuter, helps to assimilate the new and higher conditions.
In order to quickly cross the terrible lower strata of the supermundane world and to penetrate into higher, brighter realms, you must, first of all, have your goal in the hereafter clearly in view.
You absolutely have to know where exactly you want to go.
You cannot meaningfully walk a path. You will wander around aimlessly and reach no great height unless you know exactly the destination of your journey.
The completion of the last step should fill the traveler with joy, because he knows whom he approaches.
If you are a spiritual disciple and have a teacher, this goal will of course be the ashram, the abode of your true spiritual father in the world of the soul.
Nothing can confuse the traveler who already has caught sight of his home.
If you have visited your home daily in meditation during your lifetime, the ascent to this height will be a path with which you are already familiar.
Great is the happiness of a man who enters a subtle world which is already known to him.
Prepare mentally to meet one or the other of your soul mates on the threshold.
In the subtle world, even departed dear ones cannot help if they are rejected, for rejection dispels a considerable part of the help offered. Forced help can break the hand.
Don't be afraid. Look forward to him. Do not push him back when he approaches you. Be open to his help.
Above all, despair and confusion prevent from adapting to the new conditions. But if we remember firmly whither and wherefore we go, we will instantly find many helpers.
Of course, you may expect support in ascending above all from your teacher, towards whom you are climbing. Do not forget to call him urgently.
His thoughts may become so confused that, not yet adapted to the subtle world, he will not think to call for the guide's help. Does not the same thing happen in earthly life? No one speaks about guides while in the earthly state, and in the subtle world this close bond often goes unused.
He will stand by your side and assist you so that you may swiftly find your way in the new circumstances and quickly reach the height you deserve.
Many hearts which have accepted the power of service aspire to the higher worlds. A ray of help is extended to the devoted disciple.
However, it will be difficult for you to receive help if you did not make yourself familiar with the possibility of mental guidance already during your earthly life, if you did not practice listening to the voice of a non-incarnated teacher. In the subtle world, it will be too late to develop this ability. Without it, you will not hear the teacher, even if he speaks to you there.
It should not be thought that each new dweller in the subtle world will at once be given a guide. He must first find within himself the possibility to understand mental guidance. Otherwise, he cannot achieve an understanding of such help.